So I recently had an experience that has forever changed my views on life and the universe and everything within it. For the first time in my life, I've connected with the unified field, and my mind is still blown, and I'm still dealing with the ramifications of what this experience actually means. So let me clarify a little bit by what I mean by this. What exactly was this experience that I had? So if you enter into a meditative state, you're trying to meditate, kind of the first phase is that your awareness is on the body, and you need to take the awareness off your body and lose complete awareness of your body. After you do that, then you'll notice that your mind is what you are aware of. You're aware of the thoughts and images in your mind. You have these thoughts popping in. If you can silence your mind and move it out of the way, so your awareness is no longer on any thoughts or visions or of your mind at all. Your awareness is no longer on your physical body. You are aware of nothing, in nowhere, in no time, in no space. And you sit in this state of being aware of nothing for a short period of time. Soon you will be aware of a powerful energy vibrating through you, but not through your body. It's vibrating through your awareness. You are aware of this powerful energy deep within inside of you. And this is a very real experience that I've had, and from the research I've been doing, hundreds of thousands of other people have had very similar experiences. Now, when I first was able to tap into this awareness, I can feel this pulsating energy. I could only stay in there for a few seconds before my awareness comes back to my thoughts and then back to my body. And I have to push through that awareness in my body, push my awareness through my thoughts, and get back into this pulsating energy. And maybe then I can hold on to it for 10 seconds, 20 seconds before I come back. My awareness comes back to my thoughts and my body. And this is really what my experience was in this one meditation, where I could tap into it for a brief moment before coming back to my physical body. This is a very real thing. This is a very real experience. I'm as awake and alert as I am right now, just not aware of my body or the three-dimensional world or any thoughts or images, aware of nothing but this pulsating energy deep inside of me. And my mind is blown by this. I am still trying to piece things back together of what this means exactly. So let me go to what Dr. Joe talks about this. This is such a profound experience. Luckily, there are some text, some guidance on kind of what to do after you have this revelation. So in Becoming Supernatural, chapter 3, Tuning into New Potentials in the Quantum, Dr. Joe says, getting beyond our body, our environment, and time isn't easy, but it's worth it, because once you disconnect from the three-dimensional reality, we enter a whole new reality called the quantum, the realm of the infinite possibilities. The quantum, or the unified field, is an invisible field of energy and information, or you could say a field of intelligence and consciousness that exists beyond space and time. That pretty accurately describes what this experience was like for me. It's beyond space and time, beyond our physical bodies, beyond our minds. There's something, it's not even beyond, it's within. It's something within that is a very real and raw energy. He goes on to say that the only way you can exist in the quantum is as an awareness. Or better said, the only way you can experience this realm is with your awareness, not with your senses. When you pay attention to the energy of the quantum field, your consciousness is connecting to greater levels of frequency and information. And this pretty accurately describes what that experience was like for me. I didn't see anything. I didn't feel my body. I didn't have any thoughts in my mind. I was just aware of nothingness. It was just an empty awareness. And then that emptiness got filled with this pulsating energy. And why this has blown my mind is because I've heard many other people, and from Buddhism to Christians to mystics, talking about this exact thing, right? And I've always dismissed it, you know? You've heard people say, we are all one. We all have the same life within us, all have the same energy within us. I've always dismissed concepts like that. You know, somebody says we are all one. What the heck does that mean? But now I understand this raw energy that is deep inside of me is deep inside of you and deep inside of everybody. Now, many of these people go on to say that this energy is not just inside of us. This energy is inside of everything. Every rock, every tree, every molecule, every atom has this exact energy within it. Now, when you look at it from this perspective, and then you start also evaluating some other claims about how you can draw people and life and events to you, I never really understood that until I understood that we all have this energy within us. I am literally connected to everything and everybody. And so from that perspective, it seems possible that you can draw things to you. You can be a magnet, and these things can come into your life since you are all connected with this unified field on a much deeper level. And Dr. Joe goes on to say, so think of the quantum field as being filled with an infinite amount of energy vibrating beyond the physical world of matter and beyond our senses, invisible waves of energy available for us to use in creation. When I was instructing you to return to the present moment, I was referring to you stopping yourself from thinking about the predictable future or from remembering the familiar past and simply unfolding into the eternal vast space as an awareness. To no longer place your attention on anything or any one material in this three-dimensional reality. If you do that properly, you are nothing but awareness. That's how you get there. Now, after I had this experience, I started going through other spiritual and mysticism texts that I have in my home to see if they talk about this experience that I've had. And they do. You know, many of them may describe it in different ways or use different terminologies, but they talk about that exact experience that I've had. So this is a book from the Rosicrucians, and the Rosicrucians teach mysticism to people, and they claim that their teachings derive from the ancient mystery schools of Egypt over 4,000 years ago. And in the foreword to this book, it says that mysticism is simply the process by which an individual may experience direct conscious union with the absolute divine mind, universal intelligence, or what Rosicrucian students refer to as the God of their hearts. What is the cosmic? It is the divine, infinite intelligence of the supreme being permeating everything. The mystic then is the student, the knowledge seeker who through the process of studying mysticism seeks direct conscious union with the universal intelligence and the cosmic. That sounds like the experience that I've had, and that sounds like a lot of overlap with what Dr. Joe calls the unified field and how to connect with it. Now, I have another book called In Tune with the Infinite that was actually published in 1908, and this actual book was my grandfather's book. I read this when I was 19. It's one of the very first mysticism style type books that I read, and I remember dismissing this book because it talks so much about God in this book. But after having this experience, I reread some of these chapters, and it talks about this exact experience that I've personally had just through meditation. And let me read a few passages out of this book. So it says in here about God that he is the infinite spirit of life and power that is back of all, that is working in and through all, that is the life of all. That sounds a lot like what the Rosicrucians teach, what Dr. Joe teaches, what the Buddhists teach, what a lot of people teach about how this energy is within everybody and everything. So the book goes on to talk about how there's all these different religions that have popped up that are all describing and interpreting this energy that is within everybody and everything in different ways. And he says that all these laughable absurdities will so fall away by virtue of their insignificance that a Jew can worship equally as well in a Catholic cathedral, a Catholic in a Jewish synagogue, or a Buddhist in a Christian church, and a Christian in a Buddhist temple. So essentially saying that all these religions are talking about the same thing, that there is one God that goes through all of these religions, and this energy that I feel within me, that the Rosicrucians call universal intelligence, or Dr. Joe calls a unified field, all these religions simply call that same thing God. And this book goes on to say, in order to connect with this energy, the principal word to be used is the word open, simply to open your mind and heart to the divine inflow, which is waiting only for the opening of the gate. As to the realization of our oneness with the infinite life and power, the chief thing to be said is simply realize your oneness with it. The open mind and heart whereby one is brought into the receptive attitude is the first thing necessary. This sounds so much like what Dr. Joe teaches and what my personal experience was, and this book was written in 1908. Now, many of these teachings, including Dr. Joe, says that you can go much deeper than I've gone. I've gone in and I've tapped into this unified field, this cosmic intelligence for moments, 10, 20, 30 seconds at a time. But what all these texts are saying is that the more familiar you get with this energy, the more you're able to bring this energy back into your mind and bring it back into your physical body and have this energy flowing through you and emanating from you in your daily life. You can bring this energy back. You just need to develop this awareness and this familiarity and this relationship with that energy. And when you do, this is when stuff's supposed to get really wild. You know, this is how you're going to start attracting the life that you want and manifesting things, you know, in your reality. And I'm still just kind of blown away by this and dealing with the ramifications of all of this. Because I'm a pretty pragmatic, analytical person. So for so long, I've dismissed so much of this new age and mysticism talk. You know, when people talk about synchronicities in their life, get out of here. Well, it doesn't make any sense. How can my thoughts attract something to me? You know, they talk about God and they talk about, you know, following a certain path and looking for signals. I've always dismissed all of that stuff. But now I have to reevaluate that. There's some new evidence in my life, and that's that I've personally had this experience of connecting with this powerful, raw, vibrating energy with nothing but my awareness. I have to reevaluate all these things, and that's pretty uncomfortable. And that's, you know, it's really making me question the direction of my life and where I'm at in my life and where I should be going with my life and what I should be doing with my life next. The unified field, the cosmic intelligence, God, whatever you want to call this energy, I can tell you it's a real thing. I've personally tapped into it and experienced it, and you can too. Anybody can tap into this. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go back in. I every day I go back in, actually. I went back in today, and I'm gonna go in. I'm going to become more familiar with it, build a relationship with it, somehow figure out how to take it from deep inside of me back into this three-dimensional world. That is the path that I know I must go on. And I'm gonna see where this path takes me and what I can do, what good I can do in the world with this powerful energy. That's a very real thing, and I've been able to tap into.